Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, speaking on behalf of the Group of Friends in Defense of the UN Charter.
Muchas gracias, señora Presidenta.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. The Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela is honored to take the floor on behalf of the delegations of Algeria, Angola, Belarus, Bolivia, Cambodia, China, Cuba, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Iran, Laos, Nicaragua, the State of Palestine, Russia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Syria, Zimbabwe, and my own country, Venezuela, all of which are members of the Group of Friends in Defense of the Charter of the United Nations. While welcoming the convening of this meeting to consider an agenda item of utmost importance, we take note of the Special Committee on the Charter of the United Nations and on the strengthening of the role of the organization, as contained in document A/76/33. Madam Chair, the Group of Friends considers the Charter of the United Nations to be a milestone and a true act of faith of the best kind in humanity. It is the code of conduct that has ruled in international relations between states for the past 76 years, on the basis of timeless principles such as self-determination, sovereign equality of states, non-interference in the internal affairs of states, and refraining from the threat or use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state. These are all basic norms and principles that, apart from being the foundation for modern-day international law, remain as relevant today as they were back in 1945. In addition, we consider that ensuring compliance with and strict adherence to both the letter and spirit of the Charter of the United Nations is fundamental for ensuring the achievement of the three pillars of our organization, as well as for advancing towards the establishment of a more peaceful and prosperous world, and of a truly just and equitable world order. In this context, we express our serious concern at the current and growing threats against the Charter of the United Nations. We refer, inter alia, to the growing resort to unilateralism, to attacks against multilateralism, to the claiming of non-existent exceptionalisms, to attempts to ignore and even substitute the purposes and principles enshrined in the Charter with a new set of so-called rules that have never been discussed in an inclusive or transparent manner, and to selective approaches or interpretations of the provisions of the United Nations Charter. These practices in no way contribute to addressing, through peaceful means or cooperation, the complex, emerging and common challenges faced today by humanity. Rather, they contribute to an increase in uncertainty, instability, and tensions around the world. Madam Chair, the Group of Friends attaches great importance to the work of the Special Committee and is mindful of the fact that it can play an active and constructive role in enhancing the ability of the United Nations to achieve its purposes, including through strengthening the role of the organization, with a view to enhancing its effectiveness and developing its full potential. This process must, needless to say, be pursued upon the basis of the principles and procedures envisaged in the United Nations Charter itself. In this regard, whilst reaffirming our commitment to efforts aimed at ensuring the maintenance of international peace and security and peaceful settlement of disputes, we seize this opportunity to voice our concern over the unwillingness of certain member states to engage in meaningful debate, to consider the valuable proposals that have for a long time been before this special committee, and which have to a large extent been presented precisely by some of the members of our group of friends. As responsible members of the international community, we appeal to those states to give tangible demonstrations of their political will to effectively carry out the mandate of the Special Committee in a manner that would allow for a successful outcome equally successful to that of 1982, when the historic Manila Declaration was approved, which is soon to commemorate its 40th anniversary. To conclude, the group of friends vows to spare no effort in preserving, promoting and defending the prevalence and validity of the Charter of the United Nations. We reiterate our firm, principled position of support and adherence to its tenets, which are not only the legally binding and agreed rules amongst all members of the international community to govern our system of international relations, but are also indispensable to foster international peace and security, the rule of law, economic development and social progress. We must not lose sight of this as we redouble our efforts to collectively to advance towards our common agenda and ensure that no one is left behind, whilst delivering on the promise of the Charter of the United Nations. I thank you, Madam Chair.
I thank the distinguished permanent representative of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, speaking on behalf of the Group of Friends in Defense of the UN Charter.